So the winter freeze finally hit. Welcome to planting life. It still matters, but this is what you get when you get 32 degrees. Last week I showed a beautiful coleus that was thriving less than really 6 days ago, and now this is where we are after our first freeze last night. And the hostas are still hanging in there looking pretty good, which I'm a little surprised, even with a new bloom coming through. I wasn't expecting that. But coleus are not looking so hot, and I knew that was coming. So I am going to be pulling what did not survive and replacing these items with some pansies and some ornamental cabbage, most likely. I have a lot of cleanup in my back garden. Just going to be cutting back elephant ears, and it's supposed to get up to about 50 today, I believe. Right now it's barely 40 degrees. But all of the foxtail ferns seem to be hanging in there. In a lot of regions, you will see these listed as annuals. Even here in Texas, Zone 8A, foxtail ferns will be sold as annuals in some cases. But you also see them when they're a little bit older. They are a little bit more sustainable, I believe. I've grown them before, and they lasted for years in the garden until we had a really bad freeze about 2 years ago where we got below zero, and so I did lose my large foxtail ferns. But these are doing okay so far, but we only had one night of 32 degrees, and it will be getting warmer again today. Let me show you a little more large foxtail fern. I have some in my back garden that are in pots still, but this is a larger size that I put in. I think it was a 2-gallon size when I put it in about 3 months ago, and it's doing okay. It's doing fine. One of my favorite things I always talk about is Evervillo carex grass that does really amazing throughout the winter, and you keep that great color. So today is a cleanup day. I will be cutting back some things and adding some more winter hardy items to my pots, and that is going to be a fun cold day. Let's get started. So I came back to check on, all I need to cut down because what didn't survive the freeze, and I'm so sorry about the lighting. But this is interesting because, well, first off, check out the green elephant ear, which we see on a regular basis. And then if you've never seen what they call a black elephant ear, and it really is a reddish purple, but if you get closer, you'll see the green veining, especially if you have more sun exposure on the leaves. But here's one that doesn't have a lot of sun exposure, so it's a really deep purple, almost black. And so the funny thing about this one is I never planted it in the ground. It was in a very small container. I'm gonna see if I can get out in here. And the container blew over. See that small container? It blew over, and then it started to root inside of the ground. So if I get really close, you can see where it started to grow. And so I'm probably gonna just cut this all back and take a chance on it returning next year. I never dig up my elephant ears. Some people do and overwinter them by putting them in the garage. I don't. They seem to come back every single year, but this is the first time I actually have the darker purple one, which I just love the stalks on that compared to what we typically see in the greener ones. That's so pretty. But I am going to cut them back and hope for the best, and a lot of things to start to clean up back here because of the freeze. Again, the foxtail ferns are doing just fine. They tend to be more hardy when they're older and much more mature. They can handle 30 degrees. It's when you start to get into the single digits, it makes me a little nervous. I won't leave that there in that instance. Couple other things that survived last night at 32. I'm still gonna pull all that out. It's just time to get rid of it. And a lot of cleanup stuff. So I'm starting to cut things back, and that's where we're headed now. Hey guys, I am getting ready to plant tulips and daffodils, a little grape hyacinth. I'm really happy to get going. I just picked up a new hammer drill and an auger to help speed up the job. Yes, I usually do this stuff by hand. But I'm running out of time. It's getting really cold. Last night was our first freeze, and I lost all of my coleus, which was to be expected. It's just that time of year. So today has been a day of cleanup. I've been cleaning out elephant ears and all the coleus that were in my planters and in the ground, just getting rid of those things. So I'm getting ready to hook up this new drill that I just picked up, and I am going to get going. I am running out of time. It's getting late in the day and it's cold. I have about a little under 500 to pop in the ground. So hopefully this will speed everything up, and let's do this. Can't wait for the spring already. All right, so I put bulbs in already. I thought I'd stop for a second and show how you put the tip side up, flat side down, about 3 to 4 inches deep, and cover it up. Same thing here. Tip side up. There we go. So I've already done about 25 just in this one little section here. I'm not going to do as many as I thought initially. I'm going to do 75 tulips in this bed and maybe about 50 daffodils, I think. Maybe just tulips. I think I'm going to just stick with a small amount of tulips and see how that goes. And I'm testing lighting in this area. It's hit or miss. So we will see how it goes. Hey, Nola. Nola. Come here. Come here, mommy. Come say hello. Hi. How are you today? Yes, it is nice and cool out. Back to work now. Everybody's out today trying to get their lawn cut and do some last minute work because tonight we're supposed to hit our second freeze tonight. Last night was the first, and I was able to get out this morning about 40 degrees when it warmed up some and start cleaning up a lot of the dead things that have died, including all of the coleus. I had a blue spruce lying around, so I tucked that into the pot along with some ornamental cabbage and also some violas. And I'm really sorry about the noise. It's quite busy today. And I'm going to turn the camera around here. I don't have my helper today. Maddie is not here with me, but let me turn this around. And I am using my auger and my drill to drill in as many holes as I possibly can before it gets too late. It's not freezing out, but it's cold and the temperature's dropping and it will be dark here soon. So I have a bunch of blue hyacinth I'm going to pop in here along with some daffodils and maybe even some tulips. I'm just going to have a mixture of spring flowers, and I've done the same thing. I pull the coleus from here in between the um, foxtail ferns, and I'm popping holes there because I'm going to also be filling this bed with a lot of daffodils. And in this bed, I put in a mixture of red and I think it was red and yellow. Now I can't remember, I have to look. Tulips. And I only ended up doing, I thought I was gonna do about 200 here, but I didn't. I only ended up doing, I think 75 in total in tulips in this bed. It's not a huge bed, maybe 20 feet by 5 feet long. Because I wanted to save the rest. I have this side house project that I haven't really shown yet that I've been working on. I started out with sheet mulching, cardboard. I always do compost on top of my cardboard, followed by planting whatever I need and then mulching it down. But I do have this broken up into two different strips, meaning that where the items are planted, that is cardboard and compost and mulch. This little section here that I left empty, which was meant to be a pathway, is just cardboard and mulch, and that's it. I don't plan on planting anything outside of the carex grass. I do have some Salvia argentea, I hope I'm saying that correct, I just picked up recently, and put in some Dusty Miller because I'm hoping that will grow. Dusty Miller gets pretty tall and hide that meter a little bit. I don't want to do too much digging around that area, so some very lightweight flowers there. And then of course the carex grass, I am going to end up putting about maybe 100 to 200 daffodils. I want to do a long drift. I found this beautiful peach color daffodil, peach and white. Oops, let me turn that way. And the reason I'm doing this is because I share this side yard with my neighbor, and he doesn't have a lawnmower, and it doesn't get cut unless I cut it for the most part. He does try with a edger to cut the whole thing, but you know, I just end up cutting it. And so I'm kind of tired of fighting the weeds, and it's just been a struggle. And I did get the grass to at least grow back on this side. I pulled every one of his weeds about 3 months ago. But if you're not treating it with anything to help prevent the weeds from coming back, they're gonna come back. So I'm kind of tired of hand pulling all this, but I literally pulled every single weed out of this yard. And this is considered all of his. And so we'll see how that works. I'll keep playing around with it. But for right now, I am punching in a bunch of holes. You'll see that the auger hit a lot of clay back in this area. So I'll have to mix in some fresh soil there. I have two carex grass that I had left sitting out, I think way too long, or they just didn't get enough water right before I planted them. So they're not looking happy, but I'm not that worried about it. Those things were so tough. You know, they will bounce back. I have more carex that I didn't get into the ground that I need to pop in back here too. And so I'm not planting anything here because eventually I'm going to have stone pathway that's going to come down where I don't walk in his grass, and I'll just walk down the pathway here. And I would love to get some ideas. This is a north facing wall. You know, some things that I can plant in this area. And for right now, I'm not going to do anything else, you know, this fall. I have the shrubs that I put in maybe about 4 months ago. And so I need to actually, well, as I look at them, they're growing pretty well. I need to shape those up some. I don't plan on allowing these to touch. I think I'm going to keep them pretty tight as far as giving them some form. I haven't decided, I need to decide now if they're going to be rounded or if I'm going to do a pyramid shape or something with them. Probably rounded. But what do you think? I don't know. So drop your comments. I would love to get feedback. This is a work in progress. It still isn't pretty yet, but it's coming along. And I want to keep planting some sensory items in here for Jackson. He picked out these plants here. They feel like, they actually feel like lamb's ear, but they're not lamb's ear. They fooled me. And what are some other good sensory plants that I can get for him? All right, I have about 450 bulbs in, and I'm done. Actually, a little less than that, maybe 4:30, I think it was. So I have quite a few that's left, and I'm just pooped. I'm tired, so I'm getting ready to cover these in. This is a mixture of tulip bulbs. I'm sorry, not tulips. Those are daffodils, and these are the purple hyacinth. And it gets to a point where you just get so exhausted, so tired. You break every rule in the book. You just start throwing those suckers in. I am beat. This is just one area. I've been all over. Um, I haven't even finished. I dug all the holes, but I haven't even popped something in every single hole. I am out of breath, y'all. I am tired. I'm not even going to pretend. So this bed is done. I popped in some, what did I do out here? Tulips out here. And I also did some hyacinth around the edges as well. And tulips are in there. What's killing me is this area back here on the side because, man, I started, working on this soil and I hit a lot of clay. Even though I tried to amend it, I brought quite a bit of compost in and I started the sheet mulching in this area about, oh gosh, well, last year I started up here. A few months ago, I extended this bed and added more, but the problem is the soil is horrible. Well, here's where things get even worse. I ran out of ground soil where I did run into a lot of clay. I wanted to amend that area and add some compost or ground soil, and I ran out, and it's late in the day. I'm exhausted and it's cold. I'm breaking every rule in the book I would not normally do. Y'all, I had to pull out some topsoil. It's dirt. Let's see how it works. I know it's not the best thing. It's not recommended, but it's still dirt. Dirt plus water plus sunshine makes it grow. May not be the best. It's going to be hit or miss. So I still got a lot that I need to cover. These are all daffodils and they will naturalize and spread. So I'm not worried about putting even more over here. I think I ended up doing about 100 daffodils in this area. So I am done, 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 done.